Why does silence terrify her more than your words? She pulls back, she hides, she posts her life online. And you stare, you wait, you break. Every time the same. Every time she wins. Machiavelli warned, once they see your reaction, they own your control. In female psychology, doubt is more powerful than desire. In this video, I'll show you how silence, pure, strategic, unshakable silence, turns the game against her. You'll see her tests, her traps, and how to walk away with respect intact. If you're tired of being ignored for giving too much, don't see this as advice. See it as your turning point. Stay until the end. We are Simplify Success. 1. The trap of reaction. The moment you react is the moment you lose. It feels small. Just one text, one explanation, one plea. But that single slip hands her the script. She is no longer wondering about you. She is writing your role for you. And the role she gives you is always the same. The desperate one, the replaceable one, the man who dances when she pulls the strings. Think of Daniel, 31, a financial analyst in Dallas. He had been seeing a woman who once showered him with attention. At first, she called him every night, always eager to hear about his day. But then, little changes appeared. Her replies slowed. Plans were suddenly postponed. He noticed her phone face down on the table, laughter spilling into conversations that no longer included him. When he asked if something was wrong, she smiled faintly and said, "You worry too much." That smile, half pity, half dismissal, was enough to ignite his panic. He began checking his phone every 5 minutes. Every pause in her messages felt like a verdict. Every silence became unbearable. Finally, he broke. He texted her late at night. "Are we okay? Did I do something?" In that moment, he thought he was fighting for the relationship. In reality, he had just proven her right, that she was the center and he was orbiting helplessly around her. She didn't respond with warmth, she responded with distance. And Daniel felt it, the cold collapse of value, the second he revealed his dependence. He thought persistence showed love. She saw it as proof that she still controlled him. When was the last time she went cold while you were still speaking? Be honest. I will show you the exact move to flip the script. Type just a few words in the comments now. Machiavelli once observed that in the theater of power, whoever reacts first becomes the subject, never the ruler. Reaction is surrender disguised as sincerity. When you reveal that someone's silence breaks you, you are no longer a mystery to decode. You are a puzzle already solved. And puzzles, once solved, are discarded. What comes next isn't noise. It's the move that makes them addicted to your absence. Daniel's story is not unique. He believed his words could bring clarity. She interpreted them as weakness. He thought asking showed commitment. She read it as fear. The more he tried to hold her, the more invisible he became. He thought communication was strength. She saw communication as submission. And in that mirror, countless men will see themselves repeating the same pattern over and over. So stop explaining, stop rushing to fill the silence, let the pause live, let her wonder. Even a single day of restraint can tilt the balance. She expects you to chase, to soothe her ego, to validate her control. When you don't, when you allow the silence to stand unchallenged, she feels the unfamiliar weight of doubt. That doubt is not kindness, that doubt is power, and power shifts quietly to the one who refuses to break. You'll notice she stops testing you, not because she respects you, but because she can no longer read you. Skip what comes next, and you'll stay trapped in this cycle of reaction. But stay, and you'll see why her expectations are the first chain you must break. 2. She expects your reaction. The silence is not random. That delay in her reply is not a mistake. That sudden coldness is not confusion. It is a calculation. She is watching you, closer in those quiet moments than she ever did when she was smiling at your jokes. And she is waiting for the one thing that confirms her power, that you will react. Take Marcus, 34, a construction supervisor in Phoenix. He thought the connection with Julia was solid. For weeks she sent him good morning texts before he even opened his eyes. She would call during her lunch break, ask about his projects, tell him she missed him. But then, like a light dimming, the warmth faded, messages slowed, plans dissolved into excuses. Yet her presence never disappeared. She liked his posts, she viewed his stories within seconds, and one Friday night, while he sat alone at home, her photo appeared, smiling in a crowded bar, leaning close to another man. She wanted him to see it, she wanted him to wonder, and it worked. His chest tightened, his jaw locked, and the questions screamed in his head. Did she replace me? Did I do something wrong? By midnight he broke. He texted, "What's going on? Did I upset you?" That single line was not harmless. It was a confession. It told her she still had him on a leash. The next day she responded with a vague message, just enough to keep him hanging, just enough to remind him who was directing the play. Marcus believed he was seeking clarity. Julia knew she had just confirmed control. He thought love was being transparent. She thought love was a test. The next time she falls silent, will you keep the pause or rush to break it? If you dare, say it now, and I will show you how silence becomes power. Just one word in the comments is enough. Machiavelli warned that in the game of power, appearances matter more than intent. Her absence is not absence, it is theater. Every unread message is a spotlight, every ignored call is a stage cue. And the moment you break character, you step into the role she cast for you. The man who chases, the man who begs, the man who makes her feel valuable by proving his own need. In the theater of desire, he who reveals first becomes the one written out of the script. Soon, you'll see why saying less doesn't just protect you. It pulls people closer. This is the pattern countless men repeat. They believe checking in shows care. She interprets it as weakness. They assume asking questions reveals loyalty. She sees it as proof she has options. He thinks explaining himself saves the relationship. She knows it only extends her advantage. He thinks silence means she's moving on. She knows silence is bait, and in that trap, men keep collapsing because they confuse her performance with reality. There is a simple test. Do nothing. Leave the message unanswered for one day. Do not ask, do not plead. Let her wait. The more you resist the urge, the more the script rewrites itself. What unsettles her is not your attention. What unsettles her is your indifference. You will notice the shift when she starts to reach, not out of care, but out of fear that the mirror she held over you has cracked. That is the moment power quietly transfers. You'll notice she stops testing you, not because she respects you, but because she can no longer predict you. Up next, the consequences of breaking. Miss the next part and you'll never understand why men collapse after they break, but stay and you will see the hidden cost of failing her test. 3. The consequences of breaking. The moment he breaks is the moment she wins. Not because she loves him less, but because she sees him clearly for the first time as a man who cannot stand on his own. That is the moment his words turn into noise, his presence turns into burden, and his value collapses under the weight of his need. Ethan was 32, a middle school teacher in Denver. He thought patience would save his relationship with Claire. At first, her silence worried him. She used to send long messages filled with warmth and tiny details about her day. Now her replies came short, delayed, sometimes ignored altogether. Still, she liked his photos, appeared in his notifications, enough to keep him hoping. Each evening, Ethan sat in his small apartment, phone in hand, scrolling back through their last conversation. He read it again and again, searching for a clue. Maybe he sounded too busy, maybe she felt neglected. By midnight, his mind was racing, his chest tight with panic. What if she slipped away forever? What if one more day of silence meant the end? So he broke. He sent a second text when the first went unanswered. He asked if she was upset. He apologized for being distant, even though he had not been. He told her he missed her, and, in that cascade of words, he revealed the truth she had been testing for. that her attention was oxygen and without it he was suffocating. The next morning, she replied with a vague, "I'm fine, just busy." No warmth, no intimacy, just confirmation that the leash was still wrapped around his throat. Ethan thought vulnerability would restore her trust. Instead, it confirmed her doubts. He thought transparency would bring her closer. She read it as desperation. He thought honesty would prove love. She saw honesty as surrender. That night, she went out with friends and posted a photo, laughing, radiant, untouched by his anxiety. Ethan stared at the screen and felt the cold truth. He had just destroyed the very desire he was trying to protect. He thought loyalty was love. She thought loyalty was leverage. How many times did you chase the moment she pulled away? Stop lying to yourself. I will reveal why that is the instant power dies. Drop a few words in the comments so I know you have lived it. Machiavelli warned that when you reveal dependence, you reveal weakness. In the theater of power, the one who needs becomes the one who kneels. A woman only plays these games with a man she has not fully chosen, and when he breaks, when he proves that he cannot bear her silence, she knows the test is over. He failed. She may not leave that night, but in her mind the decision is made. Respect evaporates, desire dissolves. Now she is not simply pulling back, she is running. What comes next is a noise. It's the shift that makes her absence permanent. Men like Ethan believe effort keeps the flame alive. In truth, effort in the wrong moment smothers it. He believed apology was intimacy. She read apology as weakness. He thought double texting showed care. She saw double texting as proof that she was irreplaceable. He thought fear of losing her would keep her close. She realized fear of losing her made him disposable. That is the trap. Not her silence, but his panic. Not her distance, but his collapse. The first step out of this cycle is restraint. Do not explain what she has not asked. Do not apologize for what you did not do. Do not chase silence with words. Instead, let silence breathe. Let her face the emptiness she created. You will see her return, not because she loves more, but because she cannot control what she cannot predict. And that unpredictability, that absence of reaction, is where power lives. You will notice she stops testing you, not because she respects you, but because she can no longer read you. Skip what comes next, and you will never see why silence terrifies her more than your words. Stay, and you will uncover the power of silence, the weapon that rewrites the entire game. 4. The power of silence. He thought silence was her weapon, but silence is yours. The moment you stop reacting, the stage shifts. That absence she designed to make you chase becomes the mirror that shows her who truly holds control. And in that reflection, she sees a man she cannot predict, and that is the one thing she fears most. Take Adrian, 35, a sales manager in Chicago. He had always been the reliable one. When Mia grew distant, he chased. When she delayed her replies, he wrote longer ones. When she cancelled a plan, he offered another. And every time he tried harder, she drifted further. But something changed the night she didn't answer his call. He stared at the screen, heart racing, hands itching to send that one message. Instead, for the first time, he did nothing. Hours passed. No call, no text, no explanation. He turned off his phone, made dinner, went to sleep, and in the morning, a message waited. "Hey, everything okay?" That short line revealed the shift. It was not concern for him. It was fear of losing her grip. She expected a man who begged. She found a man who disappeared. When did you last want to reply fast just to kill the tension? If you dare, speak it now and I will show you how to keep control. One word in the comments is enough. Type it. Machiavelli taught that uncertainty is more powerful than force. A ruler who is predictable loses respect, but a ruler who creates doubt commands attention. In the theater of love, silence is not emptiness. Silence is stage lighting. It turns every glance, every pause, every unanswered notification into a performance she cannot ignore. When you withhold reaction, you hand her the script of her own doubt. She begins to wonder if the story she wrote about you was wrong, if the man she thought she controlled is walking away unscathed. What comes next isn't weakness, it's the move that makes her addicted to your absence. This is the paradox. She thought silence would break you. Instead, it broke her confidence. She assumed you would prove yourself, remind her why she mattered, run after her shadow. But you did not. You left the silence untouched. And in that space, doubt crept in. Doubt that she misjudged your worth. Doubt that you found someone else. Doubt that the man she once tested is now out of reach. She thought she could press pause and return when she pleased. She now faces the truth. The version of you that would have chased no longer exists. He once thought attention was intimacy. She thought attention was her leverage. But when attention vanished, leverage vanished with it. Silence stripped the game bare. Silence made her realize she was not the one deciding anymore. So tonight, when the urge comes to explain, resist. When the message arrives with half a question, half a bait, let it sit. Do not rush to reassure. Do not scramble to be understood. Let her wonder. Let her wrestle with the silence she created. You will see the shift in her tone, in her pace, in her sudden eagerness to fill the gap. And in that moment, you will understand. Silence was never emptiness. Silence was strategy. You will notice she stops playing games not because she respects you, but because she no longer dares to test a man she cannot control. Skip what comes next, and you will never see why silence turns into doubt and doubt into pursuit. Stay, and you will uncover silence triggers her doubt, the moment her own weapon becomes the trap she falls into. 5. Silence triggers her doubt. She thought silence was punishment for you, yet silence is the mirror she cannot bear to face. The moment you refuse to react, the weapon turns against her. That is when her confidence cracks, when her certainty begins to rot, and when the game she designed starts collapsing under its own weight. Consider David, 29, a software engineer in Seattle. His girlfriend Lily had a habit of pulling back whenever things seemed steady. At first, she was the one who texted first, planned trips, filled his days with energy. But one afternoon, her tone shifted. Messages became clipped, replies came late, excuses piled up, and then came the Instagram stories. Lily laughing with friends, her arm hooked around another man, her eyes cutting into the camera just long enough to ensure David would see. She expected a message that night, some desperate attempt to reclaim her attention. But David had learned. He said nothing. He watched the clock tick past midnight, phone face down on the nightstand, his chest burning with restraint. Days passed, still nothing from him. And then her mask slipped. She texted, "Hey, haven't heard from you. Busy?" That line wasn't affection, it was panic disguised as casual. In that silence, Lily realized she had lost her grip. David felt it too, the reversal of weight, the shift in power. He thought silence would break him. It broke her instead. If you could whisper one line to your past self before the biggest mistake, what would you say? Be ruthless. I will rewrite it in Machiavelli's voice. One short sentence in the comments is all it takes. Machiavelli warned that fear of the unknown shakes foundations faster than direct confrontation. In politics, silence is often the deadliest move. It forces rivals to invent their own terrors. In love, it is no different. Silence is not absence. Silence is a storm she cannot measure. While noise can be explained away, silence grows in her head until it becomes unbearable. She replays conversations, rereads messages, scrolls through photos, trying to decode what she missed. Her mind builds ghosts out of nothing, and those ghosts whisper the questions she cannot silence. Did I push too far? Did he already move on? Did I just lose a man who will never come back? What comes next isn't weakness. It's the moment her fear feeds on itself. This is where the illusion shatters. Outwardly, she may post more pictures, laugh louder, show herself surrounded by attention, Yet behind every photo is the same question: why hasn't he reacted? She expected validation, the text that proves her beauty still controls him, but when it never arrives, her performance stops being fun, it becomes desperate. The power dynamic reverses. The bait she cast into the water now hooks her instead. He once thought silence meant losing ground. She thought silence meant control. But silence revealed the truth. The one who speaks least often owns the stage. She expected pursuit. She found mystery. She expected need. She found indifference. And in that mirror, men like David discover what they thought was weakness was their sharpest weapon. So practice it tonight. When the urge comes to check her page, resist. When she posts a photo designed for your eyes, let it pass unseen. When her casual message lands in your inbox, let it wait. Each moment of silence is not emptiness, it is leverage. And that leverage pulls her deeper into doubt. Not because you manipulated her, but because you refuse to be manipulated. You will notice her reaching out harder, not because she loves more, but because she cannot endure the space you created. Skip what comes next, and you will never understand why her final test is the most dangerous one. Stay, and you will see her tests and your detachment. The moment silence alone is not enough, and strength must become strategy. 6. Her tests and your detachment. The first message after silence is rarely a confession. It is not love, it is not regret, it is a probe. That line that looks like care, "Hey, hope you're doing good," is not an olive branch, it is bait. And the moment you bite, she knows she still holds the leash. Think of Ryan, 30, an EMT in Boston. After weeks of distance from his girlfriend, the silence weighed on him like stone. He resisted the urge to text, resisted the late-night need to explain. Then one evening, her name appeared on his screen. Just 5 words: "How have you been?" His chest surged with hope. He thought this was it, the moment she realized her mistake. He typed back instantly, pouring warmth into his reply, asking about her, suggesting they meet. She responded once, with a short, "Glad you're doing well," then nothing. She vanished again, her silence louder than before. Ryan stared at the screen, the hollow pit in his stomach deeper than ever. In truth, she hadn't reached out to come back. She had reached out to confirm she could. And when she saw his eagerness, she lost all curiosity. He thought her message was an open door. She knew it was just a window she could close at will. This week, what boundary will you set that she cannot cross? Speak it if you dare, and I will show you how to enforce it. One word in the comments starts it. Machiavelli wrote that those who seek reassurance expose their own weakness. In power games, the enemy will test not to destroy, but to measure. Every vague message is a measuring stick, not a bridge. If you rush to answer, you tell her she still commands the tempo. If you hold your silence, you tell her she miscalculated. The test is never about the words she sends. The test is about the reaction she expects. Soon, you'll see why saying less doesn't just protect you. It pulls people closer. Ryan's story repeats everywhere. She sends the message, casual and safe. He replies within seconds, convinced she misses him. She disappears again, not because she is cruel, but because she never came back for him. She came back for her ego. She came back to check if the spotlight was still on her, and when he shined it without hesitation, she stepped away again. He believed speed proved value. She read speed as surrender. He believed his response reignited the flame. She knew his response proved he was still waiting in the dark. The antidote is brutal but simple. Do not answer the first test. Do not reward the breadcrumb. Let silence stand where she expected validation. If she truly wants to return, she will not hide behind vague words. She will act. She will call. She will insist. Anything less is theater. And the only winning move is not to perform in her play. So next time her name lights your phone, wait. Put it down. Go on with your day. Let her sit in the silence she created. If she cares, she will break character. If she does not, You just saved yourself months of illusions. That is detachment. Not cruelty, not revenge, but the refusal to keep serving her ego. You will notice she stops testing you not because she respects you, but because she can no longer read you. Skip what comes next, and you will never see how these pieces tie together. Stay, and you will reach the conclusion that transforms silence, doubt, and detachment into a strategy for life itself. This is where everything comes full circle. What you just heard was not about tricks to impress her or lines to win her back. It was about reclaiming power. By using silence as strategy, by holding control instead of chasing approval, you saw how every reaction feeds her ego and how every pause plants doubt in her mind. Less noise is more authority. Less chasing is more desire. And remember, this isn't about turning cold. It's about becoming untouchable. A man who is not desperate cannot be controlled. You don't need to explain to be respected. You don't need to beg to be chosen. The less you react, the more she is forced to face herself. That is the quiet shift where dignity is born. Last month, Michael, a 33-year-old architect from New York, wrote to us. For years, he admitted he was the man who always texted first, always apologized, always broke in silence. He said he felt invisible. But after watching this channel, he tried one simple shift. He stopped reacting. He let the silence live. And the results stunned him. The same woman who ignored his calls was the one asking if he was moving on. Today, Michael says this: "The day I stopped chasing was the day I stopped being forgotten." That is his advice to every man still caught in the same trap. You could be next. Subscribe now, because the shift starts quietly, but it changes everything.